Rejected, throwing away, affected. I don't know what to say. Ejected, cast out to the sea, disconnected. They didn't want me.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Nicksmissal IV, the final chapter. I am Patricia, and I am back with Clint from the Rise and Fall of Nickelodeon. Welcome back, Clint.
Thank you, it's great to be here again.
So today we're going to be talking about another TV movie that was going to be based off of a Nicktoon that was cancelled. Last time we talked about Invader Dib, which would have been the series finale / TV movie about Invader Zim. This time around, we're going to be talking about Catscratch, The Search for Waffle, which would have been a TV movie based off of Catscratch. Now, unlike Invader Dib, there's pretty much little to no information about it. I tried to reach Doug Tennapel a few weeks ago, but as of the time of this recording, he has not received my email or my message yet. So yeah, there's little to no information about what this movie would have been about. And from the title, The Search for Waffle, I mean, I don't know whether Waffle got kidnapped or whether Waffle was in an adventure looking for something. So yeah, it's kind of like last year when we discussed about Jimmy Neutron, The Search for Carl. It's like, man, it's like you have these really charming yet kind of not really intelligent people, or cats in this case, who are being searched. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Clint?
Well, in order to get my thoughts on it, really, you have to look at Catscratch as a whole. And Catscratch as a whole sadly did not last very long. Unfortunately, was the recipient of a change in regime. It got picked up, I believe, in 2005 and ended in about 2006. Was that the run?
Yeah, it only lasted for 20 episodes. As of right now, next to The X's, it's the shortest Nicktoon that has ever aired.
It was the victim of a changing regime. Basically, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what the new head wanted, which was Simon Zargami. And as we know, basically every show that was greenlit in around 2005-ish or was running to 2005 either ended around the same time or got really lucky like Avatar and was able to finish up. It was unfortunate because Catscratch was a funny show and a lot of people remember it fondly. It's another one of them shows that's remembered in a fond way, in a fond light. And just for it being only a season long is another like impressive thing that a lot of people remember it, and a lot of people would even want it like to return. To get a movie with only a season in is also pretty impressive. Like, the old regime must have really liked this show. They must have really wanted it to go places, like have a bright future, because the last movie I can remember, like a show like getting a movie that quick, is basically The Loud House in 2017. It doesn't happen often with these types of shows. Like, usually they have to go a couple seasons and they have to stay consistent for them to even have a chance taken on them like that. But I guess Catscratch was really being looked at as the future for the previous regime. But then, as everybody knows, they got kicked out, and I guess Catscratch just wasn't in very high order or regard for Sima and her crew to basically take a chance on it. Which is a shame, because, again, the show was different. In my opinion, it was... I didn't think it was bad at all, and it's just a shame to me that it just, like, it ended the way it did. And it's nice when I post on my page that, like I post stuff on my page from time to time about Catscratch, and people are like, oh my god, I didn't think people even remembered Catscratch. And I'm like, no, I remember it. I remember it very well. And that's nice to know that, like, that people, still remember Catscratch and also remember it fondly. But I'll tell you what, I don't think a lot of people know that it was supposed to have a movie.
Yeah, this is pretty obscure. I mean, from what I've understood, even for a lot of people, like, if you want to know some obscure stuff, like, not only was Catscratch supposed to have a movie, but Catscratch was also based off of a comic book series known as Gear, which, if, I think in today's standards, something like Gear would definitely be picked up as a series, because Gear, Catscratch are completely different. I read Gear a few years ago, and Yeah, it's almost completely nothing like the source material. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic future. It features 4 cats instead of 3, and Gear was a kind of like a transformer car that they controlled. But now the only thing that Gear was connected with Catscratch is that the name of their their truck is called Gear. But other than that, it's darker. It's more of a dark comedy than than the crazy over the top comedy that we would get in Catscratch. But that is up to But if you know about Doug Tennapel's work with Earthworm Jim and stuff like that, it's not too surprising.
Yeah, I mean that was also a very popular thing, period, in that era, because I believe that's the same time Megas XLR came out on Cartoon Network.
Possibly.
I think it was around the same time, and unfortunately that also met a crappy end. But basically, it's just really interesting, like, because you wonder, again, the show is only a year old, and you wonder what they would be able to do with the characters, but I guess it was, again, something that they were banking on super, super hard.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I guess it was an unfortunate time too, because, if Catscratch would have lasted another season, if it would have met up with a similar fate, I don't know. I mean, do you think it would have lasted throughout the 2007 writer's strike?
Yeah, that's another thing you have to really take into consideration. That the writer's strike really put the nail in a lot of that animation's coffin, basically. It was a combination of the writer's strike, CN Real basically becoming a thing at that point, and Nickelodeon basically being in complete disarray with the new changing of the regime and a lot of shows ending and a lot of new animation not being basically either being made or sticking, like, because Nickelodeon's biggest franchise in 2007 that they were banking on, aside from, of course, SpongeBob, like the new feature that they picked over Adventure Time was Fanboy and Chum Chum, and we all know how that story ended.
Oh yeah, so, we'll definitely talk about that next time, in which, Fanboy and Chum Chum was not the only show that Nickelodeon picked up over a certain other, TV show from another certain, cartoon, pilot series. But yeah, we'll get to that next week. Anyway, so Catscratch, The Search for Waffle. I mean, what would have happened if it would have came out? Do you think that maybe Catscratch would be slightly more popular? Do you think that maybe it would have lasted for more seasons? What do you think of the fate of Catscratch if the movie did come out?
I think Catscratch was designed to last for a while. If they were banking on it with the movie already, they were banking on it being like a stalwart in the future. But I guess just again, like, Saima and her friends didn't see it that way. The previous regime obviously did if they had a movie in the works in season 1. Like, again, as I said, I can't think of a show that one season in had a movie in development aside from The Loud House, which got 2 more seasons picked up along with it, with the movie. So to me, it shows great faith in the product and great faith in the show, that they wanted this to not only have a movie but basically be the future of the network. But unfortunately, again, bad timing really interjected this show and the movie possibility. And, it wasn't the only movie to really get of course, as you know by this point, to get canned by Nickelodeon in such a quick fashion, but it was definitely one of the more obscure ones for one of the most obscure shows that Nickelodeon has definitely ever made, but it still has love out there. It really does.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe it doesn't follow in the original source material. Maybe it may not be as well known as, say, Earthworm Jim. But Catscratch does have its own uniqueness that you don't really see a lot in Nicktoons today, in which you have these dynamic 3 cats, and they're rich, and they get to do whatever they want, and they just end up in zany adventures. It kind of almost reminds me a little bit of Angry Beavers a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. It has its own... You can tell it's a Nickelodeon show that cares, because that's another thing. Like, I can tell when something's animated by Nickelodeon, but I can also tell when a show cares about what it's doing. And again, I see that in Loud House, and I see that in Catscratch. I see great animation, I see great characters, I see great distinguishable voices, and I don't know what the movie would have been about. Like, again, Maybe they would have been searching for a kidnapped Waffle. Maybe Waffle was trying to find himself, like Finding Dory, but I think they could have made a very interesting movie out of it because Catscratch has a lot of interesting characters, and to me it might have been sort of like the dynamic of how Ed and Eddie's Big Picture show went, where you have the three main protagonists all bouncing off of each other on this big like romp of an adventure, and like across the whatever world they exist in, and maybe then like another character that's also in the show a lot is Human Kimberly. So she probably would have been involved heavily, and the butler might have been involved heavily. Just a movie's a great way to really have your characters go full force and develop them and show them in ways that maybe the show like wasn't able to, whether it was time problems or the plot didn't really let it show through. But I think that it's a shame that it didn't happen, but I really think that the fate Catscratch got was just a shame in general.
Alright, so yeah, there's nothing really much to say about it unless Doug Tennapel is able to email me back saying about what this movie would have been about. We can only just leave it to speculation. Yeah, that should be it for this episode. Clint, once again, plug and promote your stuff.
Well, Facebook is, of course, facebook.com/TheRise and Fall Nickelodeon. I'm nearing 100,000 fans. Hopefully you guys can join up and join in the fun. We're getting really close. Twitter is twitter.com @RiseFallNick. So you should be able to find me that way. And, of course, YouTube is hopefully going to be starting up eventually again. I have videos on there. You can check them out and hear my horrible fan audio because I didn't edit it and I was terrible. But some of my videos have some high views and a lot of people like them. So hopefully I'll be able to come back with much better content, much better videos for you guys in the future. But if you want to join up on that, it's youtube.com/TRAFON Trayfon, and I hope to see you there.
Alright, that should be it for this episode. Tune in next time as we're going to be talking about another Nickelodeon pilot that was rejected, and it eventually found its way online.
You got rejected, and your genius that thinks you're a disgrace. You got rejected, and you feel like you've been punched in the face. You got rejected, tell your friends you let us boss in the mail. You got rejected, so just suck it up and go to hell.